Alright guys, we're back. Got ourselves some Skookum, and this one's called Descent Dark Lager. We got 5.2% volume there, and it says from Arlington, Washington, dark lager brewed with English and German specialty malts and Cascade hops, light, roasty, and crushable. So right there. Very nice. I've tried many Skookum beers, and they're usually pretty high quality. And this one is no different. Very smooth, easy drinking, and it has nice kind of like milk chocolatey undertones with just a little bit of roastiness. Not bad at all. So we got the juicy pineapple candle that Ken over at Shave 326 sent me a long time ago when we first started sending each other stuff. So this is a candles lit shave. I have it on the back. I figured I would light the candle that he sent me, considering he just hit his 1 year on YouTube channel. He just hit his 1 year milestone, so congrats, Ken. You definitely have been crushing it. So I wanted to give you a little shout out right there at the beginning. So we are going to be using some Zingari Man today. We're going to be using the Watchman. The Watchman was one that I kind of had a mild reception to when I first got it. It kind of didn't blow me away, in all honesty. I was a little bit disappointed. I love the artwork. I love aquatics. I love dark scents. And the thought of a Zingari Man soap in the Sago base that is really high quality, and the thought of a dark aquatic scent just kind of really captivated me. Done by Chatillon Luxe. I generally enjoy stuff done by Chatillon Luxe. I'll show you guys that right there. Just beautiful label. The kind of color pops, the little twinkles in the sky, the waves and the splash kind of pops in the light. Really dope label. Got some directions for use. The Zingari Man Sago, and then the Watchman Stormy Air and Dark Seas, and some ingredients and a batch number. Really nice labeling and information on the tub right there. This was contracted, the scent was contracted to Chatillon Luxe, so they do not get any credit otherwise. But just for your guys' own info, we're going to be using the 3D printed shaving bowl that was gifted to me by Marion the Barbarian. This is a Roger Quintero design bowl printed by Tony Dillette, and it's a really dope bowl. I'm going to be using my Alpha shaving handle here, Alpha Outlaw handle, with a silver Arctic Fox synthetic brush on it, which one day I need to send to Reyes to remove and re-knot or something, because it's really stiff. And although I think the brush is pretty soft and it feels nice to paint with, it's kind of really hard to splay. I think it was just set too low by Alpha. And I absolutely love the handle, and I want it to be in my rotation more often, but I don't get a whole lot of pleasure out of using this brush, simply because it's too stiff and springy. I just think it was set too low, and because of that, it doesn't get too much use. I have other things that are set perfectly that I get way more pleasure out of, so I don't end up using this one all that often, although I absolutely love the aesthetics of it. It just doesn't have the feel and performance that I enjoy. So I'm going to have to send it to Reyes sooner or later to get that done. I can knot my own things fairly efficiently. I was thinking about it the other day that I've set 4 of my own knots and all 4 of them have performed rock solid for me. So I think I'm good in that regard, but I've never done any sort of removal of any knots, and I would rather just send it to someone with more experience for that. So J.R. Reyes would be my go-to guy in that regard. So we got our little gold dollar pleather sheath with our gold dollar inside, the one that Anthony Esposito the Stallion sent me. And it has a stallion edge on it, which I quite enjoy. So that's what we will be using today. Now, when I first got the Zingari man, the Watchman, I kind of had a less than stellar first impression of it. I wasn't really a fan of the scent, and it was disappointing to me. But others seem to really enjoy it, and I don't know what I'm doing here with overextending my wrist that direction, but others seem to really enjoy it. And as with most scents in my den, when I make a purchase, I plan on keeping it. I don't buy anything with the thought process of, well, I'm just going to try this, and if I don't like it, I'll sell it. It doesn't work that way for me. I plan on keeping it. Doesn't mean I've never sold anything in the past, because I have, but that's just not how I work. I usually hold on to it and give myself time to begin to like it. Time to grow and time to perhaps come back to a product and give it a second chance and see what comes of it, you know what I mean? And I was in a Lather and Blade Facebook group chat a while back, and someone mentioned the Watchman, and I was in my shave den as we were talking, so I grabbed the Watchman and I took a sniff, and I said, well, it's not quite as bad as I remember it. I think I was talking to John from Latherhog along with some other fellas, and I said, that's not quite as bad as I remember it. And what I find funny is that about 80% of the time when I don't like something and I give myself a chance to grow, I totally forgot about this. I had already set my razor down and everything. When I give myself a chance to grow and revisit a product, about 80% of the time I find that my mind has changed when I revisit it. So I revisited the Watchman on that day, and I was like, you know what? I like it a little bit more than I initially remember my first impressions being. I still wouldn't say it's a scent that I love, but I definitely am finding some enjoyment that I didn't find that first time around. I never thought it was a bad scent, but I just found it wasn't for me. But now that I've had time to live with it and kind of have it, my preferences are always changing and expanding. My tastes are expanding, and my knowledge of scents and fragrance is always expanding as I try new things. I found that this is one of those ones that kind of was in that 80% turnaround. I do find some enjoyment in it now. It does have this bright note that Ken from Shave 326 described as capers. I don't I don't necessarily agree with capers, but it's definitely a unique bright note that I needed some time with, because it was definitely challenging for me to enjoy in the beginning. But now I think when I smell it, it kind of blends better with the rest of the fragrance. I don't think any change necessarily occurred. I just now have a better perception of the full fragrance since I've had time to live with it. And I just find more enjoyment with it now. It's still a unique dark aquatic, but in all honesty, I don't find it too dark. Maybe darker than most. Most aquatics are usually quite bright, and this one may be darker than most, but I definitely don't find it dark. You know, by definition, I wouldn't categorize this as a dark scent whatsoever. I still think it's, you know, rather bright, but maybe darker than most aquatics. Definitely nothing the Fresh Boys should shy away from. And the Sago base has never really gave me any problems. It's good shit. Let's get this against the grain going. So, something I've preached many times, but I definitely tell people, don't offload your shit if you don't like it. Give yourself time to grow before you make the final decision. Obviously, everyone's gonna do what they want to do, but I found about an 80% turnover from the stuff I didn't like originally that I held on to, gave myself an opportunity to live with it and grow with it. And 80% ain't no small number. It's a pretty fucking substantial percentage that has worked out for me. So it's definitely something to consider. I always recommend it, but I understand people that say, you know, I have limited space in my shaved in, and I don't want that limited space to be taken up by things I don't enjoy. And that's understandable as well. Everybody is gonna participate in this hobby the way that they see fit and the way that gives them the most enjoyment. And I think learning and expanding my knowledge of fragrance is one area of this hobby that I really find a lot of enjoyment. And so buying safe scents and sticking to safe scents 100% of the time, just kind of where there is some satisfaction and, you know, always getting something I like, but I find the amount of satisfaction I get from buying a challenging scent and enjoying a challenging scent, the amount of satisfaction I get from that far outweighs the amount of satisfaction I get from buying another safe scent, like another scent that I knew I was gonna like before I bought it, because citrus is citrus, and I'm always gonna like citrus. But if I buy something a little bit more challenging and I like it, I expand my knowledge of fragrance. It's like that something new is more powerful than something that I've experienced hundreds of times, if that makes sense. And so sometimes I need to live with it and learn its ins and outs. And once that occurs, then that strong, feeling of satisfaction kind of comes over you when you kind of learn to appreciate a more challenging scent. And that's where my satisfaction of the hobby comes in. Fragrance has always been kind of like the most fun part of this hobby to me. Learning new razors and trying new equipment is fun as well, but my number one thing in this hobby is always fragrance. That's just where I get the most enjoyment. And this definitely did it for me today. Definitely, the razor performed great. I have a very smooth BBS going on. I think the Stallion's Edge is very comfortable, and it definitely works for me. Let's get this Lancaster going on. Never any problems with the Sago base. Really good stuff. I know the performance on the Sago base and the post-shave on the Sago base are very nice. So never any issues there. I haven't had a ton of experience with this recovery splash, but from what I have tried, it's pretty good. Very enjoyable splash to use. Wish it had a little bit of alcohol in it, but not the end of the world. I like aftershaves with or without alcohol, but I usually lean on the side of I wish it had alcohol in it. All right, let's get into that. So there's a look at that. Definitely got the old Star Wars intro of ingredients there. Cue the music. Just an absolutely huge list. But good stuff. You can see, even though it's in a frosted glass, it does have like a milky white consistency, quality, industry standard restrictor. So no BS shit stricter on this splash. Let's get some of this on the old grill here. Oh yeah. The splash, I think, definitely smells better than the soap. 100%. But the soap does smell pretty good in its own right. I'm happy that I came around to it. I find that 80% is it's a really nice number. I get a lot of enjoyment out of getting that turnaround. All right. So, great shave. Definitely good stuff. Congrats one more time to Ken over at Shave326 for his year on YouTube. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you have a good Monday if you got the day off, and if not, I hope you have a good day at work on Monday. Thank you for working on the holiday for us. I appreciate all the support. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.